Hi, this is Andrea Kane, and I'm here with you for HSC 114 Medical Terminology. This is an online class. This is a syllabus review video, and I'm going to go through with you the syllabus and some expectations. We'll touch on some content, and I'll show you where to find a few things here in Brightspace. One of the things I want you to notice is that there is an announcement about textbook delays and what you can do to move through that if you're experiencing a challenge with that. So now I'm going to go up to the blue banner bar. I'm going to click on Syllabus. When I do that, it takes us into the Simple Syllabus feature in Brightspace for our class. This is sort of an abbreviated version of our full syllabus. I'll show you where you can find a PDF version of the full syllabus under Content once we're done reviewing it here. You'll notice that there are some headers here on the left-hand side. You can click on those and they will take you to specific parts of the syllabus. We are an online class, and what that means is that we do not have Zoom classes that meet at a specific day or time, and we also don't meet together in person on campus. Everything is online and available to you. We do have specific due dates for materials, and you'll see that as we go through. My instructor information is here. I will tell you I don't have a permanent office yet in Max Clark Hall because it is being renovated. Hopefully by next February or March I will. For now, I am in Max Clark Hall room 206 on Mondays from 10 to 11:30 a.m. if you need to meet with me in person. Outside of those office hours, I have Zoom office hours from home on Tuesdays from 2 to 4:30 p.m. and on Thursdays from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. And I'll show you in content where you can click on links to join me in those Zoom office hours if that is something that you want or need to do. The best way to contact me is through my NICC email, and that's listed here. I have access to my email on my cell phone and on my computer, and it just works the best for me to give the quickest response time when it comes through email. In terms of required materials, we only have one textbook for this class, and it's called The Language of Medicine by Davie Ellen Schaffner, the 12th edition. You can purchase this book or rent this book in paper form. You can also get an ebook version, and I think you could rent that as well. If you are a high school student taking this class and you need a book, please reach out to your guidance counselor for assistance with that. My understanding is that the high schools either purchase books or have electronic access to books, and they will provide it to their students who do take this class. So please reach out to them if you have any questions or concerns. This next section is on course information, and that has to do with the information that is in the course guide regarding this class. It's overarching principles and learning outcomes of this class, and I'll show you where you can access a complete PDF version of the course guide under content when we're done here. In terms of grading procedures and scale, it's typical to the college. I don't determine the grading scale. What I do determine is the number of items and the number of points associated with those, and then I plug that into these formulas to reach the number of points. And pretty much Brightspace does this for me, and this is just a reflection of Brightspace here in the syllabus. We have 17 discussions in this class. We have a total of 24 assignments. 10 of them are regular assignments, 14 are weekly assignments, and I'll talk more about weekly assignments in a bit. Weekly assignments and weekly quizzes, there's 14 of each of those, and they are an actual type of quiz. So we have 24 assignments. Those total up to 900 points, which is 44% of the grade. We have 14 quizzes, which is worth 700 points, or 35% of your grade. And that means you have 55 possible items and a total of 2,020 points for the entire class. I do offer an extra credit opportunity, and you can find out more about that through the course calendar or clicking on assignments or under content looking at week 17. So our course calendar really tells us, it's our roadmap for this class. It tells us what we're doing each week in terms of activity and coursework, which chapters in our textbook we'll be covering. If we have activities that are worth points, what points, and how does that value relate, our course objectives and unit objectives that apply to the week. And so you can go through and see each week exactly what is happening so that you can plan ahead. For instance, week 2 has Labor Day weekend in it. And I believe it is week 14 that is Thanksgiving. So you can look ahead and see what's happening that week as well. We have a total of 17 weeks, and as I mentioned, there is an extra credit opportunity that's optional in week 17. It can be completed before then, but that's where it's located if you're looking for it. The next section of the syllabus is really campus-wide information, or all college information, perhaps might be a better way to say it. So I'm going to leave that to you to read. I ask you to please read it and make sure you're familiar with it. Because this is an online class, class continuity or continuation during campus or center closing is really not an issue. Same thing with campus emergencies. So we don't really need to cover that in our syllabus, but it's here in case you need to know. But as an online course, we continue to meet regardless of what is happening on campus. I take attendance on a weekly basis. Typically on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I grade for the prior week. And when I do that, I take attendance. If you have completed any coursework in the prior week, I will mark you as being present. If you have completed absolutely no coursework in the prior week, I will mark you as absent unless you have let me know that you will be absent or have been absent or ill or that type of thing. That is optional for you to do. You are not required to notify me, but it does help me when I'm doing attendance to mark you as excused instead of absent. In terms of academic integrity violations, the two most common that occur on college campuses are cheating and plagiarism really is a form of cheating. So I encourage you not to do either of those because you undermine yourself in terms of your professionalism, reputation, conscience, and integrity. It's just not worth it. If you are not comfortable with doing text citations, links, crediting sources, things like that, please get with the Learning Center. They are confidential and free at NICC, and they will help you develop the skills that you need to avoid any chance of plagiarism. So please keep that in mind. When it comes to your coursework, you do have due dates. When it comes to discussions, those due dates do not flex. I don't accept discussions late, and here's the reason why. Our discussion takes place in a very specific time frame. That's when everyone is getting on, they're posting their discussion, they're posting their peer replies, and that discussion is happening. When that time frame ends, everyone moves on to the next discussion. We don't go back. So going back and posting late doesn't add to that discussion. Not to mention, once you get out into the medical world, you'll notice that medical record documentation has to take place at or near the time of the event. So this is good practice for us to make sure that we're staying within that time frame. In terms of assignments and quizzes, I do accept them late without any penalty. And that's why I don't extend due dates, is because I do accept assignments and quizzes late without any penalty. However, the very latest I can accept any items is 11:30 p.m. on Sunday, December 19th. I can't accept anything after that time because I have to have time to process all of that, grade it, get everything updated in Brightspace, and turn in final grades to the registrar by their due date. So I accept late or missing items up until 11:30 p.m. on Sunday, December 19th. After that, I can't accept them. And I do not ever accept late discussions. I don't ever extend those due dates or anything like that. Discussions are hard and fast. So if you find yourself in a challenging position where you can't complete your work for the week, please do your discussion activities. Your assignments and quizzes can always be turned in later. If by chance you do turn things in later, notice that when I grade, again, usually on Tuesdays or Wednesdays, I am required to put a 0 in for missing items or things that aren't attempted or haven't been turned in, so that your grade stays current. That 0 is an indicator for you that, hey, something is missing, something wasn't done, didn't happen, those types of things. When you turn in those items or you take those quizzes, then we update your grade. So just be aware of those zeros and what they mean, and understand that when you turn in those missing items, it may take a couple of days, but that 0 will get transformed into whatever is your final grade. Because I accept late quizzes, there's no makeup testing available. But one thing I would strongly recommend is that when you go to take your weekly quizzes, make sure you have very stable internet. Because if your internet or your power goes out in the middle of a quiz, you're going to have to contact me and I'll have to reset the quiz for you. So please, I'll set up a second attempt. So please make sure you do have good internet and that you're not in the middle of a thunderstorm when you take your quizzes. The next section, use of technology, all the way down through classroom conduct. I'm pretty much going to leave for you to read. Some of it applies, some of it doesn't. But when we get to classroom conduct, the two things that I want to emphasize are respectfulness and kindness. If we are respectful in all of our communications, both when we send our communications or provide our communications and when we receive them, and we're kind with one another, thinking the best of one another and trying to be our best, we really have a great relationship and professional conduct, and we can learn. Obviously, rudeness, disruptive behavior, intimidation, harassment, none of that is tolerated. Course calendar. Most due dates are on Monday following the week of class, so classes start on Tuesdays and they go all the way through Mondays. Most of my deadlines are 11:30 p.m. on Monday nights. That should be indicated in Brightspace. If you have any issues with Brightspace or there's confusion or discrepancy, please reach out to me. But look in Brightspace first because that's really your source of truth. In terms of discussions, they are all open for the entire semester. You're welcome to complete those in advance. Just don't forget that you need to go back and do peer replies to at least 3 of your classmates' posts every week. There are rubrics for most of the discussions, and rubrics are how I grade. They'll tell you the points and what I'm looking for. And I use rubrics to really be more fair and even-handed in my assessment. So please make sure that you're looking at those rubrics and you're aware of them. Assignments can be started and completed at any time throughout the course, but they do have specific due dates. There are rubrics for some of the assignments, so make sure you look at those before you work on the assignment. That way you know what I'm going to be grading on and what I'm going to be looking for. Okay, let's talk about weekly assignments and weekly quizzes. Weekly assignments are under quizzes. They're called weekly assignments, but they're actually under quizzes. So make sure that you're aware of that. They open on Tuesdays and close on Mondays. You have 2 attempts available. The attempts are timed, but not time limited. And they are graded based on completion only, meaning that I want you to complete your weekly assignment at least 1 attempt. You don't have to do 2. 2 are available if you want them, but 1 has to be completed if you want the grade of an A. Brightspace will automatically score and grade them. The purpose is to show you the areas that you need to focus your studying on before you take your weekly quiz. Some students have found that they'll take their weekly assignment, they'll find out what they need to study, then they'll go back and take the weekly assignment again and see if there's anything else left over that they still need to study or that they missed that second time around before they take the weekly quiz. Other students take the weekly assignment, they do their first attempt, they find that they did really well on it, and so they don't take it a second time, they just move on and take their weekly quiz. And that's fine too. Find what works for you. But just be aware that if you complete one attempt on a weekly assignment, you complete the weekly assignment once, I will make sure that your grade gets turned into that completion only A for that. Weekly quizzes, on the other hand, open on Thursdays, close on Mondays. They are one attempt only, time limited, and graded based on correct answers only. Brightspace also automatically scores and grades these. The purpose is to demonstrate your proficiency with the materials that you learned that week. There are a lot more questions under weekly assignments, but the number of points for the weekly assignments are less than the quizzes. So the quizzes have fewer questions, but they're worth more points. So that's kind of the balance between those. I'm going to skip over classroom conduct. I do want to emphasize the Learning Center. If you struggle at all with test-taking anxiety, if you would like some new strategies for how to get through testing, how to face multiple choice tests and things like that. If you struggle with writing papers, if you're not sure about doing research for a paper, if you struggle with spelling, punctuation, or grammar, if you would like more training on how to do citations and sources, and citing sources and things like that, the Learning Center is free and it's confidential, and it's a great opportunity to utilize. So please don't be shy about reaching out to the Learning Center. If you need Read Speaker for Brightspace, please reach out to the DIID team. Our materials in this class, we use a lot of copyrighted materials that are available for education-only purposes, so we ask our students not to share content of the class outside of the class. If you've never heard of netiquette, you can Google that, but it's etiquette guidelines for electronic communications. If you have an accommodation, I would really appreciate it if you'd let me know so that I can be supportive and encouraging and help you in whatever way I can. If you do not have an accommodation and feel that you perhaps need one, please reach out to Sally Malum. She's our new Director of Accessibility Services at NICC, and she's very helpful. So wanted to bring that to your attention. And then the last information is, again, college-wide. So that's the syllabus. Now I'm going to go over here to the blue banner bar, and I'm going to click on content. I'm going to take you over here. Sorry, it takes my computer a second to do that. If you look at the table of contents on the left, you'll notice that there's some information about your instructor. Then there's Zoom office hours information. This is where you click and you can see the links that will take you to our Zoom office hours that I have each week. So if you want to join me on a Tuesday, you can click on that link and use the password. You'll notice the password is identical for both Tuesday and Thursday, but the link is not. So make sure that if you are joining me on a Thursday evening, you use the Thursday evening link, not the Tuesday. Under Getting Started, if we click on that, you'll see there are two PDF documents. One is the syllabus, the other is the course guide. So I'm going to click on the syllabus. This is a PDF version of the entire syllabus. It's basically what we covered, but in a different format, and it goes through all of that information here. So I'm just going to skim down because I wanted to show you some of the information again, as well as point out what may be a helpful version of the course calendar. It's a little bit nicer of a version, in my opinion, to work from. So if you choose, you can print this off and be able to check through, oh yes, I did this, I did this, I did this, that type of thing. So clicking back on Getting Started here at the top, now we can look at the course guide, and that's also a PDF document. And this is the official course guide for the class. It lets you know what our education learning outcomes, or ELOs, are, and it goes through our units that we'll be studying and what the competencies are for each. So going back to Getting Started, let's see. There are some resources to support your learning, some additional things that might be helpful to you. And then you can click on the week. And the week will show you an introduction, and then it'll go down in a list for you all the different things that are under the week. so that you can work through those. And it's the same if you look on the left for all of our weeks. You can see through week 17 there. You may see some additional things here at the bottom of mine. As an instructor, I have some additional bells and whistles that you may not have or may not see. So just ignore mine and work with yours. I'm really excited you're taking this class. I hope that you will learn a lot and that you will find it worthwhile. So thank you so much for watching the syllabus review video, and I look forward to talking to you each week as we go through medical terminology. Take care.